Well, good morning. Today, our lesson is on becoming like Christ, or becoming like Jesus, should I say. Now, I guess my first question to you guys would be, what does it mean when they say becoming like Christ, or becoming like Jesus? What do you think it means? And let me read you an excerpt from the Daily Bread that was from May the 8th. It says, talking about Jesus. The Apostle Paul said that when we tell others about the gospel of Jesus Christ, we should set forth the truth plainly. We do not preach ourselves, he said, but Jesus Christ as Lord. So again, I pose to you the question, what does it mean to you when they say becoming like Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a minute.
Well, it's a call to action.
Okay.
Taking on what people say, what would Jesus do? They just throw that around. But the true thing is, what would he do in this situation? A call to action. It's all about action. Love's the action word. He shows love, compassion, showing those types of actions. What is called action.
Jesus is love, and to become more like Jesus means you turn words into action. And, like he said, you have to be about the Father's business.
Having the courage and the conviction to take you out of it as Jesus did and make sure that you are promoting the healthy progress of each individual, whether we know it or not, whether we represent it or not.
First of all, we need to study the Word to find out the characteristics of Jesus. And once we know the characteristics of Jesus, then that's when we start putting those characteristics in action, taking those characteristics on in our lives.
Jesus left the planet
Mm-hmm.
here for us to go by.
Exactly.
Just like when you look at first of all, I go to that planet that bring me up to date on
Well, what's going on?
everything that went out or coming in and so forth. And he left this to us so we can put our lives and we can partner as closely as possible. We know we can't live like Jesus. We know that.
Amen.
But we know we can, we left an example. We can go by
That's it.
instruction.
You really hit it right on the point. All of y'all did, because it's a call to action, like he said. And you have to, if you want to be more like Christ, because when I was looking at this, some people think being like Jesus or becoming like Jesus is to be Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We could never be Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming like Jesus is us striving to know more, striving towards that goal of living a Christ-like life, of reading the instruction manual where he left his commandments and he told us, intimately, we should love each other as we love ourselves.
And he acted out every one of these.
Exactly.
He gave us parables and examples
Exactly.
to live by.
Exactly.
And what to do in certain situations.
Exactly. Because he basically, when he wrapped himself in flesh and came down here, he experienced life as we did.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to do different parables, to do different things in order to tell us or to show us how to react to those things. Just like when he was around prostitutes and they were saying, Rabbi, why are you dining with such people? Do they not need Christ also?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't discriminate between prostitutes or drunks or drug addicts or leprosy or whatever. He did not discriminate, and often we do.
And see, most of the time when you read about him, that's where you found him.
Exactly.
Among
Amongst the
those that
rubbish,
really
as
need
they will
him.
call
And
it.
like you said, we are afraid to go into those different types of areas and situations. And we want to be more like Jesus. We want to become like him, but and I'm speaking for me too, we don't go and do what it is that Jesus did.
We don't. We don't. We don't.
You know, a few weeks ago when I was in the hospital, I thought about Jesus, and he was being a needle in the stomach, in my stomach. So I asked him, asked the nurse, what did you pray this for? And pray. And she told me that it's a love thing. And you have to do that because he's, you own that IV, and you have to lay in the bed, and have to
You don't want to have no spots. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought about Jesus. I said, now he had gold nails in his side. And, and me, I am complaining. Well, I wasn't complaining, really, but I was getting pregnant when he gave me needles in my stomach.
Right.
And I had to tell him every 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I thought about Jesus, and they are nailed to the side. And here I am, giving needles in my stomach.
Right. Right.
And see, we sing about the suffering that he did and that he bled and died for us, but we will never experience the pain that Jesus went through. There's no way we could experience that pain. And if we would just take to heart the pain that he went through just for us.
And it's amazing that you said that because when I was reading up on just being like him, they brought up after, saying that our goal is to be like Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Their next thing that I read was in being like Christ, it requires you to know truly about the resurrection, like what he did, what he did for us. And, people just think about Jesus being hung and that said he rose on the third day. But the resurrection goes far, so much deeper than that. And reading about that, you're talking about for 3 days he battled down there with Satan, taking the keys back from him for those that had died before he came. The first Adam was Adam. He messed up and got kicked out of Eve, like you was discussing last week. The second Adam was Jesus. And he went down there from the first Adam to him to resurrect all of those people that have been wrongfully killed, that have been stoned, and you name it, for whatever reason, for whatever was believed or whoever was in charge believed, all them babies that got killed when he was born. You got to think and wrap that around your mind, because in being like Christ, you really have to think about what Christ did for us, wretched as we are, to be here right now.
But it's something how you brought that up, because the part that we forget most of the time is all those 3 days that he spent in hell. We don't think about that.
No, that's what I'm saying. All we think
is the
about
fact
he
that
hung,
he hung,
got
and he
rose from
went-
the dead
yes,
on the
and he
third
rose
day.
on the third day. We don't think about from the time that he
When
went.
they took him down
to the
off
grave.
that cross, he was not in that tomb.
Mm-hmm.
He went down and immediately started fighting with
Yes.
Satan on our behalf.
And we don't think about
And
that
if you
at all.
read about it, it'll tell you what he did. And it tells you that when he was 12 to 24 months old, his parents rushed him out of, was it Bethlehem or wherever? Because they were killing all the babies.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought him back later. And then they even said that when he was 12, and it mentions in the Bible how he was sitting among the preachers or whatever, he was asking them questions, and they said he was gaining knowledge, but we never think about like those questions that he was asking them, because a 12-year-old should not have had that type of knowledge. you know, but he was asking them to see where their head was at, you know, because it was never really about him. It was always about us.
You know, I would love to know what was he doing and where was he between the ages of 12 and 30?
Well, they said between 12 and 18 or so, he started to just learn more, and he was gaining in wisdom and knowledge and gaining the respect of people around him.
Mm.
So, and it even went into the wisdom, breaking down wisdom, what it means, and understanding and gaining favor among God and men, it said. So he was working at his ministry from 12 to 18, and then he struck out and started walking his ministry out, as y'all were speaking last week. So you have to really, you know, you have to think about that thing. You know, do I really want to be like Jesus?
Right?
You know, because when I started reading about it, wow.
It's a lot to take on.
It's a lot to take on. What I've decided in my walk is that I can never be Jesus, but I will strive to be a better Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I will strive to be a better person. I will follow his commandments and this instruction manual. And a lot of times every day, we don't take the time to study and enrich our minds or to gain more knowledge. And that's what it said Jesus did.
Mm-hmm.
And if we study to get more knowledge and to get ourselves where we needed to be, then we would be like him, but not him, because we could never be him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to require an hour out of our daily life just to read the instructions. We do. We need to read up on what we say we are. Because, you know, it was an interesting point. I'm going to say this. It kind of blew my mind because I typed it out and I was like, wow. Okay. I'm going to read this here. I was typing stuff out. I was like, this is good right here. I got to tell them this. Okay. Okay, that ain't the one. I thought I highlighted it. Wait, give me a second. Basically, what it was saying is that what we often do is we study, we read, and we go on and on every day trying to call ourselves being better Christians and stuff. And as the end comes near, we got a lot of book knowledge and nothing else. That's me summing it up. If I find the quote that I typed out, I'm going to read it to y'all because it blew my mind. I was like, wow, I got to tell them this one because this is deep out here. But the whole thing of it is, all right, Marilyn, we're basically talking about being like Jesus. And my question to the class was, what does it mean to become like Jesus? Thank you, Marilyn. I asked everybody else. Marilyn's mom. What does it mean to become like Jesus?
We are asked to follow his word.
Victoria, what does it mean? That's a good way to put it. That's a great way to put it. You kind of summed up what we were saying. It's hard because in being like him, you have to take on all that he did.
Mm-hmm.
And can we really? Would you been able to go down and fight the devil for all them souls? Would you been able to come back up and still, you know, with doubting Thomas, let him touch the holes in your hand? Because you've been walking with me all this time, and you still don't know me? I did what I said I was going to do. I said I have to die. And when I die, I'll be back. I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to leave you with somebody to comfort you. but you don't know me? How could you not know me? You was intimate with me. You knew all my secrets. You was figuring out our money. You was making sure everybody ate. You prayed with me. You ate with me. You slept with me. You was on the rocky boat with me. How could you not know who I am?
That's just like coming to church every Sunday. You hear the word, but there's some aspects of your life that you still don't live what's being taught.
Exactly.
We hear it over and over and over again. But just like doubting Thomas, we doubt certain things until things come up in our lives, and then we begin to say, you know, what I heard is true. But I guess that's the human side of us.
That's usually though after we done tried and
Everything.
failed,
Yeah.
and then we reach out, Lord, have mercy.
And being as loving as he does. He has mercy. He gives us a new day of mercy every day.
Every day.
And we need it.
Oh,
Every day.
man.
Every day.
Every day.
And you know, when y'all hear attributes of Jesus and you think about him being, like they describe him as being timid and meek or whatever, what do y'all think about? How do y'all see him in y'all's mind? If you were to describe him, how would you describe him?
Whoa.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's humble and loving, but he also has a swift hand of anger. He proved that in his word when he went to the temple and started knocking over tables and things. People thought he wouldn't get angry, but he can get angry too.
You know, it's funny you said angry because when I was reading, they said that you know, one person said Jesus never made mistakes, but then someone else said that he did make mistakes, but like when we pray, our Father, forgive us of our transgressions as we forgive those who trespass against us, blah, 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 blah. They say that he did make mistakes, but it wasn't, like he wasn't going out there intentionally sinning. You know, like we plan to sin.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we do things and we know we gonna do it. You know, because last night when I left here, I knew I was gonna have me a glass of wine. But that's not a sin. Sin is if I was gonna continue to drink and be, you know, drunk. But some people, they plan to sin. I'm gonna go sleep with this man, this woman's husband, you know, because she out of town and he won't buy stuff. You know, they plan to do things. So they say that Jesus, he didn't make mistakes. He talked about transgressions and mistakes being made, but he wasn't ignorant to it, and he didn't do wrong or go against what he was preaching about. So he just chose to, and the things that people saw him doing as being a sin, like eating with the whores and the leprosy people. If you read some of the passages and stuff and some of the things that they said wasn't written in the Bible, they talk about how he would eat amongst the people that was unfavorable. But what does that mean? What does that mean? So, you know, he only was supposed to eat with the Jews, not the Gentiles. What's unfavorable? If that's the case, we all unfavorable. I mean, are we just enough to eat with Jesus? I mean, answer that for me. If you think about it, are we? Have we been that good? Really? I mean, I'm just saying. Have we been that good? That we could sit and dine at his table?
But see, the thing about it is when they say he sat with the unfavorable, it wasn't the unfavorable in his eyes. It was
Exactly.
the unfavorable in our
And
eyes, in their eyes.
exactly. And that's not what we do right now. Don't we do that right now?
It is. We invite those that we want to be around, those that we consider not in our circle, then we don't let them in.
Exactly.
That's why he was so very careful to make point of pointing out that the Sadducees and the Pharisees, they don't have, they have one or two what I am trying to get you to understand, what I'm trying to do. It is not to identify the select. I am trying to get you all to understand that all of you are my elect. I take all of you.
Yeah.
And I am not down with these countries that try to ostracize so many people for so little, such little things. But you just like I said,
For the wrong reason.
and where did that happen the most at?
Right here.
In the church.
In the church.
In the church.
In the church. And that's what's sad. You know, if we're to be like Jesus, then we have to really shake off all the mess that we got in and of ourselves to strive towards being anything better. You know, and when I say mess, all of our own little quirks and stuff, you know, oh, she can come, but she can't. You know. You know, we have to stop all of that. Because if we're going to, we have to fix what's in here first. You know, because we need to, an example, last week, I might have used this example already, I don't even know, but I was telling our Southern Area Director when we had a meeting with him, they randomly selected some employees to go and talk to him about our issues. He didn't want to hear our gripes and moans about our immediate supervisor or whatever. He wanted to know why the morale was bad and why, you know, how can we make it better, he was saying. And we got a new director, which changed a lot of the outside makeup of what we do. But everything else was still nasty inside. And that's how we are here. Our church is beautiful. I heard the women speak about it yesterday. It's so beautiful in here. Look at this. This is really nice. It's really nice. This is a new church. They were saying all kind of stuff. But we got to change that inside, that rust and corrosion that's around those nuts and bolts inside. We got to get in there and shine up the brass and clean the floors and, you know, run that snake down the toilet so no toilet paper is backing it up. We got to clean all of that up on the inside. So not only are we in a beautiful building, it's beautiful people inside. It's people that don't care if a bum off the street come in here, white, black, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. As long as they're coming for the same reason. Jeans, holes in their jeans, no shoes, shoes on. You know, I mean, as long as they're not coming with some guns or whatever, and even if they come with some guns, we can tell them to check them in their car. You know, but we have to learn how to do it the right way. Because you know what? If we don't, and this is the real, you know how many of our babies are killing themselves? It's a lot of our babies killing themselves. Because they're being bullied, because they're not being accepted, for whatever reason. And if we can't fix it at our level, how can we expect the babies to fix it at theirs? How can we expect the babies to, you know, accept others if we don't even do it? Because really, our children mimic what we do. They mimic what they see us do. And if we're unaccepting of, if we're going to do that, and they see that, they repeat that in school, whether they're the bully or the bullyee, the one being picked on. You know? Go ahead. Because, it's so many kids being killed, shooting themselves, being beat up. I was watching these little videos on Facebook that they be posting of people getting beat down. These kids getting beat down. I mean, beat down. On the floor, they pulling their hair, they kicking them in the face. You know, I was telling my grandkids and my son, I said, that's jail evidence right there. I said, don't ever take nothing of a fight of someone you know in a fight. Don't even be involved in it. I said, you need to walk away. Because if you caught on that camera, they're going to ask you why you ain't going to get somebody. Because nowadays, they're locking you up for being a witness. You know, if people in the hospital, brain dead, face all beaten, it's just ridiculous. So we have to change us so that our children can see us behaving better. If we're going to strive to be like Jesus, we need to start at home and start changing our little quirks about ourselves. If we change that, and then we start changing things in this beautiful sanctuary, in our church inside of ourselves, our sanctuary, the people that we're around and that we choose not to be around. I mean, you don't have to be with that person, but you can start by just being nicer. It doesn't, like Jesus said, treat your brother like you would treat yourself. You know, so you got to do unto others like you want it to be done to you. You don't want nobody walking around to my house. You know, you don't want nobody doing that about you. If my breast stink, tell me. I'll go gargle. Because I don't want to be separated and have separatismness because of you thinking my breast stink, or maybe I got a body odor, you know. Sometimes I'll be at work, and I'll be telling people, you don't want to sit by me because I'm trying to smell myself. So therefore, you ain't got to tell nobody, Vanessa orange is smelling like onions, but you know what? Vanessa done smelt it already. I done went and washed, and I don't have no deodorant here, and I'm sorry, but move on. I'm not kidding you. One day, I just forgot my deodorant. And I was in training, and people was trying to sit by me. I was like, I don't think you want to sit by me. Just stay over there. They're like, what's wrong with you? I can smell my underarms. So you ain't got to go spread it. That's what's up in here. Okay. I done did it for you. You ain't got to sit by me because I know I'm smelling kind of oniony. I'm just being real. If you cut it out before it gets to that level, then you don't have to worry about it. Because truth be told, it is too much happening with our kids. It's too much. Kids being shot, kids shooting up places. In Augusta, some boy shot another boy at Payne College. Boy on the ventilators and all kind of machines. It's too much. It's too much. So we got to stop it somewhere. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Go ahead, Mary.
I was just gonna share that, I'm a group leader in a family strengthening program on Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And the program actually is structured around group leaders and all people who are involved in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
To sit down with the family members and family leaders.
Good.
So we can't, just like you say, they're unfavorable, not that they are, but they want us to sit down with the families and carry on conversations and encourage them to have conversations with their children.
Exactly.
I mean, we're supposed to model behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
so, we sit down with them and eat and have discussions.
And see that?
So that's, I mean, it kind of goes back to, how, even the world, I guess you would say,
It's doing
see
it.
that
Exactly.
we need to do those things.
Yeah. And that's really what Jesus was doing. When he was going around and inviting in the people that wanted to know about him and his word, he didn't discriminate. It didn't matter if that person had leprosy or was homeless or was considered to be a whore, or like he said when the girl touched his pants, or not pants, the little skirt he had on, or the sheet or whatever you call it. The robe, the garment, yeah.
Whatever.
The robe. I'm sorry, the robe. When she touched it, he felt some strength go out of him. He felt it. You know? And she was a woman that had issues of blood. And if you read about that, when you had problems like that, you weren't allowed to be around other people.
No.
You weren't allowed to be around other people. And if they would have knew she was there, they probably would have stoned her. She would not have survived. She took a chance because she believed. Exactly. That faith walk y'all was talking about last week. She took a chance based on her faith and what she believed to be the truth about this man they called Jesus. And she said, if I could just touch that hem of his garment. I'll be healed.
Mhm.
And she touched it, and he felt it. Why did he feel it? Why did he feel it? What? Tell me, why did he feel it? Go ahead, Donna.
I think we want a spiritual thing and a carnal thing. Because everybody in the crowd was just touching it.
Mhm.
Touching it.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly.
spirits connected, and the next thing you know, she's healed.
He felt the strength of her faith.
Exactly. That's it right
He
there.
felt the strength of her faith.
That's it right there. That's it. That's exactly it. He felt the strength of her faith,
Mhm.
of how she believed in him.
And whether we realize it or not, our faith plays a big portion
Yes.
of how Jesus handles us.
Yes.
Because if you walk your faith and you believe, he's going to give you what, not all of what you want all the time, but he's going to give you exactly what you need. So it depends a lot on our faith, and we as humans, our faith wavers, because I know mine does. And it's because I might believe that certain things are going to happen, but when they don't happen fast enough, then I say, okay, whereas, my faith wavers. Jesus, you said you would do this if I did this. But he didn't give me a time limit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because I read somewhere that Jesus' delay is not a denial.
No.
It's just a defer right now. We're just deferring these plans for a later time. And just because he don't give you all you think you want, he gives you what he knows you need.
Mhm.
So he may delay it, but see, I read also that a lot of times when we accept Christ into our life, we're excited and we have that zeal to learn. We're reading, we're doing the most. But then it dies down and life starts to hit you. So you start pushing the Bible back a little bit more and a little bit more, because you got to do this, you got to feed the kids, you got to pay this bill, you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to do this, you got to do that. So more and more, that reading you was doing every day becomes maybe every couple of days.
Mhm.
Then it may go
Once a
to
week.
once a week. So what we have to learn to do is continue to cultivate that relationship that we have with Christ and with God. We have to continue to build on that, just like we do in a marriage. That woman that was married for Miss Mina, 58 years? 58 years? Was it 58 years, she said?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Ooh.
So you have to be able to take the good with the
That's
bad.
what I'm saying. You gotta, just like with Jesus, you gotta cultivate that thing. You gotta stay in there through thick and thin. Whether you got time or not, you gotta make time for this study manual. You have to make time to, even if it's so easy now. Technology is something else. You could put it on your phone and listen to it when you're driving. So at least you're getting in. You might not be sitting there physically reading, but you're listening to it. In your car, on your ride to the store. When you get somewhere else, when you're sitting at your desk, whatever, you could plug it in and just listen to different scriptures. It's really, and I'm speaking to myself, there's no reason why we can't do what we need to do to have the relationship we need to have, to be the person that we need to be, to become more like Christ.
Well, see, we don't want to give up that time.
I ain't got nothing but time when I'm riding. If I just get my grandchildren to buy me the right cord to plug in, I could listen, because I don't know what cord I need. But they do. They was telling me they do.
And what Marilyn was saying about the team leader thing, team, God was very specific
Yeah.
about what pleases him is when you do to the least of these,
Mhm.
you do it for me.
Exactly.
But when we talk about the hierarchy in a church, I want to sit at the pastor table. I want to sit back there with
Mhm.
the needed the folk.
Or with,
that
or
are
with, or
faith
with
in
Vanessa
Christ.
and them.
Where I really need to be, I wanna be where the in Christ is. And that's the cleaning up that you refer to on the inside of
Yeah.
our church that we have to do is, we gotta remember, God wants you to be the example for somebody that does not have the faith and the maturity in the word that you have. And you can't do that by distancing yourself. You need to sit down with them
Yes.
and make them feel, you know what, and I might be 10, 11 stations below you financially, but I feel a connection.
Exactly.
I feel that you care. And for all too long, our society has demonstrated care by a check.
Yeah.
And that won't always feel the need. But our society is determined.
Yeah.
We fixed on give them a check. That's all they need.
Marilyn?
And when you show that you care and you're interested in them being better, and they actually attend,
They do.
and they participate.
They do.
So you see an increase in participation, and you actually, you see rapport building, you can see it from session to session.
Yeah. And you know, another thing you see is you see that they start believing what you tell them.
Right.
They start believing in themselves, and it's like a light clicks on for them where their morale may have been here, but it starts going like this, where they start striving towards being better, so they can show you, look what I did. I mean, I can do this, you know, because with kids and even with adults, you know, you have to stroke their egos. You know, you have to stroke what you know works for them. You know, you have to know what works for them. Because in doing that, you help them to build their own character, if you want to know the truth. You change their attitude, the way they think about things, you know, because they may have been stuck on thinking this one way because that's all they've ever seen.
And the only way you can tell what it is that they need in their lives is for you to be around them.
Exactly. Exactly.
I can't sit here and look at Warren and say, you know what, Warren needs,
Jesus.
no, that's not, Warren needs some encouragement. No, sometimes you may see it. Warren needs somebody to tell him that they love him. You know, and I won't know that if I'm not around Warren sometimes for him to, and a lot of times they may not verbally say it,
Right.
but their actions, because I work with children in the middle schools, and in some of in the two schools primarily I work in are Schofield and Lavelle, and those kids come in and they're not encouraged.
No.
And I will encourage, and I tell them the two words I will not let you use in here, and that's I can't. I said, because you can. And I said, because I said, I may not like some of your attitudes and what you're doing. I said, but I love all of you. And when they hear that, it's like they say, what? Nobody ever lets them know that you are cared about. Right. And they'll say, well, you coming back tomorrow? Are you going to? And those kids look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, they do.
And because you can encourage them just a little bit. And you can see a little light come on.
Every day.
Every time
or
you
every
see
meeting.
them. Sometimes there's something different about them and it's coming around.
And then they start to share with you things that are bothering them. Because that trust, you're building that trust, you know? And that opens up a door of information for you. Because once you open that door, then you're able to feed them, you know, the things that they need to, in order to be encouraged, in order to lift them up, or to take them to where they need to be, in order to not be a statistic and be in jail, or be shot, or be bullied, or be whatever. Because you know what? You can stand up to a bully without even hitting them back, you know?
Okay.
But that's a learned behavior, you know? And if you don't have enough in yourself as far as who you are, then anybody could bully you. You know, I used to tell Tarek all the time when he was little, and he was just little. And I used to say, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm awesome man of God." I said, "That's right, you remember that." You know? And he's funny because when he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, Ricky used to tell me, "No, you're gonna make that boy a sister." No, I'm not. And I ain't having no sisters in my family. You know, and when he crack it up, and we was talking about it yesterday. I'm a divert for a minute. They was talking about mothers, right? And Tarek and Ebony was saying, "Well, why would you beat us and tell us to shut up?" I said, "'Cause I don't want to hear all that noise." And I said, "I don't know." I said, "When I got a beating, I was told to shut up. Shut up all that noise so I give you something to cry for."
That's right. Lord.
And I remember as a kid, I used to say, "Well, what did you just do?" You know, I should have cry for. It is funny to me because they was and tying that into Jesus and building people up. I think that, you know, you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not that you got to beat them down, because a mother was talking about how she handled her child yesterday. And I remember when, you know, Jesus got mad and went in the temple and threw everything over. That was like a father being mad about the house being dirty. Mm-hmm. You know, if you think about it. He went in there and he was hot. They was selling stuff in the church. They said in this one passage that he had a whip. You know, I can just imagine. Get up out of here. You know, ain't that what we do? Ain't that what we do? Think about it. That ain't what we do. I told you to clean this up.
The room.
You ain't supposed to have that in here. That ain't what we do. Think about it.
We do
That's what we do, ain't it?
Cause it works.
Exactly.
The fear, put the fear of them, not the fear of God, put the fear of you in them. That's different.
Two beats? I can't. My kids gave me a birthday cake one year with a belt, and they had put a picture of me on it, and I had the belt on like this. And they had up there, champion beater, happy birthday. They did. And the girl had a big booty. And the belt was like this. I was like, wow, that's just wrong. But I found that passage I was talking about. Let me read this to y'all, because this blew my mind. It says, "But there's a word of caution here. It's possible to gain knowledge about Christ through studying his word, and yet not grow to know Christ himself through his word. Mm-hmm. In fact, you can read and study your Bible all your life and never get to know Jesus in an intimate way." All right. It says Jesus tells us how to know him. He tells us to read his commandments and keep them, and to love each other as we love ourselves. And he tells us to love his Father. He disclosed all of this personal information to us, but it's possible through that knowledge that we can keep that and revive Jesus in ourselves. But you could walk around, it says, and study your whole life and know every scripture, quote them. It says in the word, blah, 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 but not have an intimacy with him, not have a close relationship with him, not even know him for yourself.
You see, I like the definition that Pastor Harrison gave us about intimacy. It says,
intimacy, yeah.
So look into him and see who he is, so that you can follow and strive to become like him, because we know we never will.
Nope.
And he knows we never will. Nope. But we can do our best.
And he knows when you're doing your best.
That's right.
And he will let you know when he knows that you're not Just like the lady that came to him and, she tried to hide her past. No, he's went up that window. The husband you with right now, that ain't yours.
That's right.
He lets you know that don't bring me foolishness.
Cause I know.
Cause I know. And that's what's his point about me. When you're dealing with the least is not gonna allow you to blow smoke.
Right.
When you're in a circle of people that are accustomed to it, feel like it elevates to blow smoke. Let's say things that are nice, things that make me feel good. Don't have to be the truth. Things that make me feel good.
Right.
He was trying to get us to realize that's not the real.
Mhm.
Get around people that will tell you the truth,
Exactly.
so that then you will know the truth. It is an awful thing to not know the truth. Just like you say, you can study the word and get a total wrong interpretation. The word can make you a bully. You get to think, you know what, I can make people feel bad because I know the word.
Yeah,
I can quote a scripture.
I pull a scripture out on them.
And guess what else I can do? I can make people give me their money
Yeah.
because I know the word.
Yeah.
But I don't know Christ. I don't know
Yes, you don't
nothing
have a
about
clue.
the God I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
just know the word.
And it's funny because, people do that so often. They study their whole life and they can quote you and read and know. This one lady I used to know, she knew Psalms 91. I think that thing is long. She knew it. She would just, we'd be in women's Bible study and she just start just going on. I was like, wow. And at first I thought, man, I want to be like her. I want to know them scriptures like that. But you know what? God stopped me from feeling that way. Because that's her.
Yeah.
That's not you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what, and that's like I said a few minutes ago, that's what we have to remember and realize that when Jesus was doing what he was doing, it wasn't about him. It was about us. Now, we need to make things about him and not about us. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
It wasn't about him when he was out there saving everybody. It was about us and us being saved. Now, we need to make it about him and not about us. Because really, we ain't got no heaven or hell to put nobody in. We can't say, you're going to hell because you didn't listen to what I said. We don't have it. So we need to remember that it's truly not about us.
But Vanessa, this right here, it doesn't matter to Jesus that you can quote a scripture in this Bible.
Exactly.
He didn't put it out here for you to learn it word by word. These are instructions for you to live by.
Exactly.
Now, I can't quote, now I'm going to tell you, I'm perfectly honest, I can't quote scripture, maybe like Rudolph can or whatever. I can't quote the scripture, but I can tell you how it fits. I know what it means. I may not be able to tell you that go to Psalms 91 and it says this, but I know what Psalms 91 means to me in my life.
Right.
He didn't put it out here for you. I want you to learn this word for word.
No. He left us instructions.
But the word, once you read it and you apply it to your life,
becomes life.
you may not be able to quote that scripture, but it comes up into your heart when something comes up into your life, what it means. I've read that. I know that this applies to my life. I may not be able to say, in the word it says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things. And I find myself doing that all the time.
Right.
Because I become anxious an awful lot.
Right.
And then he fixes something for you. And the first thing I find myself doing now, like you waiting on a problem that you've been having, and he fixes it. And it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
I just,
You didn't even realize it was fixed. That's just like when he takes things away from you that you used to hold on to.
Yeah.
You don't even realize.
Worrying about this.
Yes,
I told
yes,
you I had.
yes. He just, you don't even realize when he take those things from you, because they just start dropping off. And then when you think about it, it's like, hey, I used to do that. I remember that. But you haven't done it in so long. It's not even like a familiar thing for you anymore. Last two things I'm gonna say is something for you to marinate on and work on for yourself. Is how can you rekindle and maintain how it felt when you first fell in love with Jesus? Because that's your mission in life, is to keep that love for him and to be able to keep it going. Don't let it fall by the wayside. Don't put it on the back burner. Just keep pulling and let, like a net keep flying around your head or something. You want to swat it away? Don't swat Jesus away. You know? Let him go ahead and land on you if he'll fly. Because he may leave something on you that you might need. You know? And then the last thing is just a little quote that one of my sorors said yesterday when we was at our meeting. She said, "Stop crossing the ocean for people who won't even cross a pond for you." So stop crossing the ocean for people who won't even cross a pond for you. Okay? That's all I got. Well, y'all come on up and get the money. Now, when I was doing this lesson,